Yeah, so today we'll start with chapter number 5, that is the snake and the mirror. Fine. Before you read, do you like to look at yourself in the mirror? What do you do? What do you think about at such times? Have you ever seen a dog, a cat, or a bird look into a mirror? What do you think it sees? Okay, so they are asking you question that have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror? कि आपने कभी कांच में मिरर में खुद को देखा है क्या? And if yes, yes, हम we see every day, right? तो आप जब देखते हो तो what do you think at such times? They are asking that when you are watching yourself in the mirror, what do you think at that particular point? And again, they have asked one question that have you seen any animal like a dog or a cat or a bird looking themselves into a mirror, and what do you think it sees? And if yes, कि आपने अगर कोई एनिमल को देखा है तो आपको क्या लगता है कि वो क्या देखते हैं वैसे? तो you if you want बच्चा you can answer part. What do you think when you look into your mirror? What thoughts are running in your mind when you look yourself into the mirror?
When I see in mirror, I see my face.
Yeah, that's fine. But they are like,
हिंदी में
what? Yeah, yeah.
बोलना
Okay, okay, चलेगा. But try not
मतलब
speaking in English also.
मतलब मैं जब मिरर में देखता हूँ तो मैं अपना मुंह देखता हूँ, अगर मेरे मुंह पे कोई पिंपल्स हो तो मतलब मैं उस पे ही घूरते रहता हूँ, इसको कैसे हटाने का ऐसे सोचते रहता हूँ.
Perfect. And have you seen any animal looking into the mirror?
हम अगर एनिमल मिरर में देख रहे हैं तो वो पक्का मिरर में भौंकते रहेंगे, क्योंकि उनको अपने जैसा कोई देखते हैं. तो जैसे कि मैम एक कहानी था ना जिसमें शेर एक वेल में देखता है तो वो अपने आप को मतलब कि देखता है तो वो वहाँ पे ही रोर करते रहता है.
Perfect. They feel that there is someone same like them.
यस मैम.
Okay, perfect. And what do you think it sees? उनको क्या लगता है? So you said that they feel that there is another animal similar to them in the mirror itself, right?
यस मैम.
Okay, chalo, we'll start with second question. Now read this humorous story about a doctor, a snake, and a mirror. Okay, fine. It's not a question. They're just telling us that it's a humorous story about who are there, like who's the character present in the story. So we have doctor, we have a snake, and a mirror. Fine. So let us start. Has a snake ever coiled itself around any part of your body? A fully blooded cobra? All of us fell silent. The question came from the homeopath. The topic came up when we were discussing snakes. We listened attentively as the doctor continued with this tale. Okay. So, what was the question which was arised? The homeopath. Now, what do you mean by homeopath, bacha?
मैम होम्योपैथ मतलब कि मैम वो छोटे छोटे मतलब क्लिनिक टाइप के होते हैं ना मैम, उसको डिस्क्राइब करते हैं.
ओके नहीं हाँ वो ठीक है बराबर होता
मतलब
कौन है
मतलब मैम वहाँ पे भी एक डॉक्टर होता है, पर मतलब वहाँ पे मैम जैसे गवर्नमेंट का वहाँ पे फ्री में कभी कभार कुछ भी मिलता है, मेडिसिन वगैरह हो तो.
परफेक्ट परफेक्ट एंड लाइक वो डॉक्टर को क्या बोलोगे आप लाइक होम्योपैथ कौन होता है बेसिकली
मैम डॉक्टर वो नहीं
बराबर
मालूम.
बराबर बराबर एक बेसिकली आप क्या बोल सकते हो कि कोई डिजीज का ट्रीटमेंट ठीक करते हैं फिर मेडिसिन प्रोवाइड करते हैं वैसे परफेक्ट तो उनके वहां पे होम्योपैथ ने क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा हाउ डिड दिस कन्वर्सेशन स्टार्टेड ही स्टार्टेड बाय आस्किंग जो होम्योपैथ थे ना वहां पे उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा दैट हैज अ स्नेक एवर कॉइल्ड इटसेल्फ अराउंड एनी पार्ट ऑफ योर बॉडी कि आपका कोई पार्ट बॉडी का सपोज हैंड पकड़ लो तो हैंड पे कभी स्नेक ने ऐसे कॉइल मतलब ऐसे गोल गोल ये आप सर्कल्स या अपन बोलते हैं ना पूरा कॉइल अपन ने देखा है ना हाउ द स्नेक डज के वो पूरा ऐसा कॉइल होता है तो वही उन्होंने पूछा कि कभी आपके कोई बॉडी पार्ट पे स्नेक ने कॉइल किया है क्या और फुल्ली ब्लडेड कोबरा एंड कौन सा स्नेक उन्होंने स्पेसिफाई भी किया कि कोई कोबरा वैसा The topic came up when we were discussing snakes and क्या बोल रहे हैं नरेटर जो नरेट कर रहे स्टोरी कि ये टॉपिक कब निकला जब we were discussing about snakes तभी ये टॉपिक निकला एंड जो होम्योपैथ थे उन्होंने पूछा कि आपके बॉडी पे कभी स्नेक ने पूरा कॉइल किया है या नहीं We listened attentively as the doctor continued to his tale. So who's the narrator over here? हमें पता चल गया. The narrator over here is the doctor. Next, it was a hot summer night, about 10 o'clock. I had my meal at the restaurant and returned to my room. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. The sound was a familiar one. One could say that the rats and I shared the same room. ठीक है, तो वहां पे क्या बोल रहे हैं, वो उनकी स्टोरी बता रहे that it was a summer night and it was almost 10 o'clock in the night and I was returning to my room. I had my meal at the restaurant and I was on my way to the house. I heard a noise from above as I opened the door. Okay, as I opened the door, I could hear a noise and the bathroom में थे. And the noise was a familiar one. What do you mean by familiar? जानी पहचानी voice थी. Like he's saying कि ये आवाज मैंने कहीं पे सुनी है. One could say that the rats and I shared the same room. And what he's saying that the sound which was audible to him वो किसका था? एक rat का था. And वो बोल रहे कि इतना rat का voice आता है ना मेरे घर पे कि कोई भी बोलेगा that rats and I share the same room. Like उनके रूम में बहुत सारे rats हो गए थे. Clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, one could say that the rats and I shared the same room. I took out my box of matches and lighted the kerosene lamp on the table. The house was not electrified. It was a small rented room. I had just set up a medical practice and my earnings were meager. ठीक है, वो क्या बोल रहे हैं कि वहां पे लाइट नहीं था जहाँ पे मैं रह रहा था, वहां पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं थी एंड आई वाज स्टेइंग इन अ स्मॉल रेंटेड हाउस. ठीक है, रेंटेड मतलब क्या, ऐसे छोटा सा भाड़े पे लेके वो वहां पे अपनी मेडिकल प्रैक्टिस कर रहे थे. जैसे हमने ऊपर देखा दैट द narrator over here is a doctor. So he's saying that I was just staying in a small rented room where I used to practice my medical, like I used to do my medical practice. Bacha, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So he's just saying, and what he said, I had just set up a medical practice and my earnings were meager. Now, what do you mean by meager? Meager is very small in quantity. कि मैंने just start किया था मेरा medical practice and उस time पे मेरी salary इतनी नहीं थी. I had about 60 rupees in my suitcase. Along with some shirts and notice, I also possessed one solitary black coat which I was then wearing. Okay, so what he's saying that उस time पे मेरे पास सिर्फ 60 rupees थे in my suitcase and along what was there in the suitcase, the 60 rupees which I had, and I had some shirts and dhotis. I also possessed one solitary black coat. तो वो उनके बोलते हैं कि मेरे पास मेरे suitcase में I only had shirts and dhotis, 60 rupees थे और एक black coat भी था मेरे पास. तो इतना सब मतलब इतना ही था मेरे पास, उनका कहना था. Yeah.
Ma'am, solitary
One solitary black coat. Like when I say solitary, it's like उन्होंने उसको describe करने के लिए बोला है. Like black coat जो था ना, तो उसको describe करने के लिए उन्होंने word यहाँ पे solitary बोला है. And when I say the meaning of solitary, it's like क्या बोल सकते हो आप, solitary का like a live-in coat ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, कि बस उन्होंने black coat को describe एक adjective दे दिया है वैसा.
Okay, मतलब हम ऐसे भी I have one nice beautiful black coat.
नहीं, solitary is like a single black coat I had ऐसा. Single, बस एक ही था उनके पास वैसे. Unique, you can say like a unique or a single black coat. तो solitary यहाँ पे as an adjective हो जाएगा कि उन्होंने उसको describe करने के लिए बोला है that I had one solitary black coat. It is something which can be unique or which can be just a single piece वैसे. ठीक है, clear बच्चा? Fine. Which I was then wearing, and then he's saying that I was wearing at that time. तो बस उतना ही मेरे पास यहाँ पे था. Next, I took off my black coat, white shirt, and not so white vest and hung them up. I opened the two windows in the room. Okay, तो अभी वो आगे डिस्क्राइब कर रहे, क्या डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं? Yeah. I took off my black coat, white shirt, and not so white vest and hung them up. So he's saying यहाँ पे एक ही जो उनके पास solitary black coat था, एक ही coat he had, that also he was wearing. So when he returned to his home, he removed his coat, white shirt, and you know आपने formals अगर कभी पहना होगा तो you have a shirt to wear, उसके ऊपर आपके पास एक वेस्ट कोट होता है, and then you wear the main coat. पता है ना वेस्ट कोट होता है ना. सो वही वो बोल रहे कि उनका जो वेस्ट कोट था ना वो इतना वाइट वाइट नहीं था, मीन्स इट वाज अ लिटिल बिट डर्टी, एंड देन ही रिमूव्ड ऑल ऑफ देम एंड हंग देम अप. Normally we do, right? Once we are home we change our clothes. Similarly the doctor had also done the same. I opened the two windows in the room. It was an outer room with one wall facing the open yard. It had a tilled roof with long supporting gables that rested on the beam over the wall. ठीक है, so what he's saying, I opened the window in my room. के जितने भी window थे मैंने खोल दिए, and there were two windows in his room. One faced the open yard के आगे जो open yard था ना उसका view आता था उनके window पे, and it had a tilt roof with long supporting gable. So if you see in the picture, यहाँ पे एक picture दिया है जहाँ पे they have shown what a gable means. See, it is the upper part of a wall below a sloping roof. So he's saying that it had a tilt roof with long supporting gables that rested on the beam over the wall, and there was no ceiling. As such ceiling type नहीं था, सिर्फ ये gable था जो roof पे ऐसा rest करता था. वैसे मतलब ये gables के ही support था, and उसी से उन्होंने ऐसे ceiling type बनाया था, but there was no particular ceiling in his room. Clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There was a regular traffic of rats to and fro from the beam. I made my bed and pulled it close to the wall. I lay down, but I could not sleep. I got up and went out of the veranda for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. And what he's saying that there is always a regular traffic of rats to and fro in the beam. कि जो beam हम लोग ने ऊपर देखा वहां पे उनके पास मतलब हमेशा rats हुआ करते थे. So that is why he has used the word traffic over here, that he had many rats in his beam. जो ऊपर उनका beam था उनमें बहुत सारे rats थे. And he's saying then I was about to sleep. I made my bed, pull it close to the wall, but I could not sleep. Why he could not sleep? Let us see. So he decided, since he's not feeling sleepy, he decided to go out in the veranda. थोड़ा बाहर जो आंगन टाइप रहता है ना, we have a open space right after our house. So he decided to go there in the veranda for a little air. कि थोड़ी हवा लेता हूँ मैं रात को. Sometimes you feel ना you're not feeling sleepy, you just go out, you know, relax in your balcony. In the same way he also did, but he's saying I went there for a little air, but the wind god seemed to have taken time off. मतलब क्या, what he's trying to say कि जरा भी वहां पे flow of wind नहीं था, कि जरा भी हवा नहीं आ रही थी. And over here he means when he says the wind god seemed to have taken time off, मतलब उनका क्या बोलना है कि जो हवा के देवता है उन्होंने भी आज छुट्टी ले रखी है. वैसे हैव टेकन टाइम ऑफ मतलब क्या, वो भी आज नहीं है. मतलब बेसिकली देयर वाज नो एयर अराउंड. क्लियर?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके. I went back into the room and sat down on the chair. I opened the box beneath the table and took out a book, the Materia Medica. I opened it at the small I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror. A small comb lay beside the mirror. So what he's saying, bahar gaya, I went into the veranda for a little bit air, but since there was no air, he returned to his home. He sat on a chair and there was a book which was lying beneath the table. के टेबल के जस्ट साइड में एक उनके मिरर के साइड में एक टेबल था जहाँ पे एक बुक थी. तो उन्होंने कौन सी बुक निकाली? द मटीरा मेडिका करके बुक का नाम था, वो उन्होंने निकाली एंड ही स्टार्टेड रीडिंग. Okay, he started reading. I opened it at the table on which stood the lamp and a large mirror. कि जो उनका टेबल था उसी के साइड में there was a lamp and वहाँ पे एक बड़ा सा मिरर था and मिरर के सामने there always used to be a small comb कि छोटी सी कंघी वहीं पे हमेशा मिरर के आगे it used to stay there, it used to be there near the mirror. One feels tempted to look into a mirror when it is near one. I took a look. In those days, I was a great admirer of beauty and I believed in making myself look handsome. तो जैसे हमने यहाँ पे ऊपर क्वेश्चन डिस्कस किया था that do you ever look yourself into the mirror and if yes, what are the thoughts running into your mind? And as Parth said that yeah, I see myself into the mirror and I see if there is a pimple on my face and I then keep staring that pimple and I think that what should I do to decrease that pimple, right? तो वैसे पार्थ ने बोला था ना वैसे ही सेम वे में यहाँ पे डॉक्टर भी वही बोल रहे हैं that उस टाइम पे I was a great admirer of beauty that even I used to love to see myself to check myself that how am I looking and he said that I believed in making myself look handsome and उनको क्या लगता था that I should do something so that I look handsome. I was unmarried and I was a doctor. ठीक है तो यहाँ पे हमें पता चलता है the narrator over here is a doctor who is narrating the story and at the same time he is not married. I felt I had to make my presence felt. I picked up the comb and ran it through my hair and adjusted the parting so that it looked straight and neat. Okay, so he thought that I should make my presence felt, that लोगों को लगना चाहिए कि मैं भी कहीं पे हूँ उनके साथ. So that is why he decided that I'll just comb my hair neatly. So he adjusted the parting. आप जो partition करते हो ना फिर एक side पे आप part करते हो बाल को तो वही वहां पे बोला है that I adjusted the parting so that it look straight and neat. Clear till here? Any doubts?
No, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Okay, Daksh. Chalo.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again I heard that sound from above. But he's saying जैसे मैंने open किया था door, I could hear any sound, right? And he's saying that again I could hear that sound from above. I took a close look at my face in the mirror. I made an important decision. I would shave daily and grow a thin mustache to look more handsome. I was after all a bachelor and a doctor, right? So he is telling a doctor होते हैं ना बच्चा they have a lot of things to study and that is why they could it's very difficult for them to remove time for themselves to groom themselves. So that is what he's trying to say, that when I looked into the mirror I made an important decision. And what decision it was? That I would shave my face daily and एक thin mustache एक एकदम पतली सी मुस्टैच मैं बनाऊंगा और जिससे मैं हैंडसम लगूंगा. वैसे ये थॉट किसका था? डॉक्टर का. एंड ही सेइंग दैट आफ्टर ऑल आई एम अ बैचलर कि मेरी अब तक शादी नहीं हुई है, मैं एक अनमैरिड डॉक्टर हूँ, सो आई शुड लुक हैंडसम वैसे एंड आई एम अ डॉक्टर, so I should look neat and I should be groomed properly. That is what he's trying to say. I looked into the mirror and smiled. It was an attractive smile. Yeah, वही बता रहे that he was in love with himself. He's saying that I like to, appreciated myself. I like to appreciate myself. तो वही वो बोल रहे कि, उनकी smile भी उनको बहुत attractive लग रही थी, बहुत प्यारी लग रही थी. I made another earth-shaking decision. तो यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि उन्होंने दो decisions लिए थे. नहीं, यहाँ पे उन्होंने सिर्फ एक ही डिसीजन लिया. पहले तो वो सिर्फ he had a thought over here that I am unmarried and I should make my present felt. ये तो सिर्फ उनको एक थॉट आया. बट यहाँ पे उन्होंने क्या डिसीजन लिया था? that I would shave myself daily and create a thin mustache. Now he's saying that again मुझे और एक थॉट आया. कौन सा वो थॉट था? And see what word he had used, executive or shaking decision, कि सबको हिला के रखने वाला decision. What was that decision? I would always keep that attractive smile on my face to look more handsome. I was after all a bachelor and a doctor too on top of it. फिर उन्होंने दूसरा decision क्या लिया? that I would always keep smiling. ये जो मेरी attractive smile है वो मैं हमेशा मेरे face पे रखूंगा. And again he's saying that after all I am a bachelor and I am a doctor as well. Again came that noise from above. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे क्या बता रहे basically that the doctor he was into mirror, के वो mirror में देख रहे थे, खुद को praise कर रहे थे, and he was making decision. At the same time he could hear a noise. Okay, so what was that noise वो हम लोग अभी देखते हैं. I got up, paced up and down the room. Paced up is मैंने speed मेरी थोड़ी बढ़ाई. I got up, paced up and down the room. Then another lovely thought struck me. I would marry. अभी उनको एक तीसरा thought आया. ठीक है, उनको आवाज भी आ रहा है, but at the same time he is thinking something. You know, there are thoughts running in his mind. जैसे ऊपर उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा था that when you look into yourself, what are the thoughts running in your mind? तो वैसे ये डॉक्टर भी अपने मिरर में खुद को देख रहे थे and he was pacing himself. At the same time there were thoughts running in his mind. So another thought came into his mind, and that was, I would get married. I would marry. I would get married to a woman doctor who had plenty of money and a good medical practice. तभी दूसरा थॉट क्या आया उनको, दैट आई वुड गेट मैरिड टू अ वुमेन डॉक्टर, के जो मेरे ही प्रोफेशन में होगी, जो डॉक्टर होंगी उनसे ही मैं शादी करूंगा, जिनके पास पैसा ज्यादा हो, एंड इवन शी शुड हैड अ गुड medical practice. So that was again another thought which ran into his mind. She had to be fat for a valid reason. Okay, तो अभी उनको क्या बोला था उन्होंने, that he saying that that girl, that woman should be fat. तो fat क्यों, उनका भी उनके पास एक valid reason है. पार्थ बच्चा, any doubt you have?
No.
Okay, okay. So yeah, he's saying that for a fact, since he mentioned that a woman should be fat, he's saying that I have a valid reason for the same as well. So क्या reason था? Let us see. If I made some silly mistake and needed to run away, she should not be able to run after me and catch me. तो यही उनका reason था कि why she needs a fat woman, because if he is making any mistake and then when he's trying to run away, that she should not be able to run उनके पीछे पीछे and उनको पकड़ने के लिए. So that was the reason for which he wanted a woman to get married जो fat होनी चाहिए. Clear यहाँ तक?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With such thoughts in my mind, I resumed my seat in the chair in front of the table. There was no more sounds from above. ठीक है, यही सारे thoughts उनके mind में चल रहे थे, and then he sat on a table where he was continuing his work, and then he's saying that there were no more sounds, कि अभी कोई आवाज नहीं आ रही थी. Suddenly there came a dull thud as if rubber tube had fallen to the ground. Surely nothing to worry about. ठीक है, फिर क्या बोल रहे, suddenly there came a dull thud. Dull thud मतलब क्या, ऐसे कुछ तो ऐसे गिरा, वैसे उनको लगा जैसे कुछ रबर ट्यूब जैसे उनके पीछे गिरा, ग्राउंड पे गिरा. बट ही इज लाइक श्योरली नथिंग टू वरी, दैट देयर वाज नथिंग जिससे मैं डर जाऊं या घबरा जाऊं. देयर वाज नथिंग टू वरी. Even so, I thought I would turn around and took a look. No sooner had I turned than a fat snake wriggled over the back of the chair and landed on my shoulder. ठीक है, अभी आप ये imagine करो कि वो टेबल पे एक चेयर के सामने बैठे हैं एंड ही इज डूइंग समथिंग, एंड ऊपर से कुछ गिरने की आवाज आई उनके पीछे. एंड जस्ट उन्होंने सोचा कि मैं ऐसे टर्न करके देखूं कि किसका आवाज आया. ही कुड सी अ फैट स्नेक wriggled over the back of the chair and landed on my shoulder. मतलब क्या, उनके शोल्डर पे एक फैट स्नेक पड़ा हुआ था. How scared he must be, my God. The snake landing on me and my turning were simultaneous. ठीक है, कि फिर वो शोल्डर से धीरे धीरे मेरे ऊपर आने लगा स्नेक, एंड आई वॉज टर्निंग साइमल्टेनियस, के मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा था व्हाट शुड आई डू, एंड आई वॉज जस्ट टर्निंग. I didn't jump, I did tremble. I didn't cry out. There was no time to do any such thing. कि वो क्या बोल रहे हैं, ना ही मैंने jump किया, ना ही I could tremble, like I could not cry. I did not make any voice. Why? Because there was no time. I could not think what should I do. The snake was on me. The snake slithered along my shoulder and coiled around my left arm above the elbow. The hood was spread out and its head was hardly 3 or 4 inches from my face. ठीक है, और फिर धीरे धीरे the snake he had coiled around the left arm of the elbow, कि उनकी जो elbow थी उसके left arm पे वो coiled हुआ था, snake ऐसे गोल गोल पड़ा हुआ था. And the hood, उनका जो entire body था was spread out. on जो head था ना, it was facing his face 3 to 4 inches away from his face, कि उनका जो face था उसके just 3 to 4 inches दूरी था वो सांप. Clear till here? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It would not be correct to say merely that I sat there holding my breath. And he's saying कि ऐसा बोलने में कोई problem नहीं है कि वहाँ पे मैं मेरी सांस रोक के बैठा था, because I was so scared. He was just so close to my face. I was turned to stone, but my mind was very active. ठीक है, कि मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं रहा था what I should do. I was like you know, ऐसा पत्थर, जैसे मैं पत्थर की मूर्ति बोलते ना, वैसे मैं हो गया था. But my mind was very active. He's saying, but मेरा जो माइंड था वो उस टाइम पे एक्टिव था, एंड आई वाज थिंकिंग समथिंग कि भाई कैसे मैं ये स्नेक से छुटकारा पाऊं. The room was surrounded by darkness, as we have seen earlier that there was no electricity in his place. The room was surrounded by darkness, and in the light of the lamp, I sat there like a stone image in the flash. And जो छोटी सी उन्होंने लाइट लैम्प जलाई थी, बस उन्हीं के सामने वो एज अ स्टोन इमेज बैठे थे, कि वो जस्ट एज जैसे थे वैसे ही बैठे थे, कोई मूवमेंट्स कर नहीं रहे थे. I felt then the great presence of the creator of this world and this universe. God was there. Suppose I said something and he did not like it. I tried in my imagination to write in bright letters outside my little heart the words, oh God. And उस time पे he's like that I could feel the presence of God, and I just remember God at that time, who is the creator of this world and the universe. मैंने उनको याद किया, and I was like just I was imagining in my thoughts. मैं वहीं पे बैठे बैठे ऐसे सोच रहा था कि मैं क्या लिख रहा हूँ, oh God करके वैसे लिख रहा हूँ. There was some pain in my left arm. It was as if a thick leaden rod, no, a rod made up of molten fire, was slowly but powerfully crushing my arm. The arm was beginning to be drained of all strength. What could I do? And as we have seen earlier, that the snake was resting on his left arm, and then he's saying that after some time I could feel the pain, क्योंकि snake का भी वजन होता है ना, तो वो वजन के वजह से उसको उनके लेफ्ट हैंड में आर्म में पेन हो रहा था. एंड देन ही सेइंग कि पहले तो मुझे ऐसे लगा कि कोई थिक रॉड मेरे लेफ्ट आर्म पे रख दिया गया है, बट देन ही सेइंग दैट द रॉड इज मेड अप ऑफ मोल्टन फायर, कि उतना मुझे पेन और उतना मुझे वजन मेरे लेफ्ट आर्म पे लग रहा था. एंड नाउ माय हैंड वाज ड्रेनिंग ऑल द स्ट्रेंथ, के जितनी भी मेरे हाथ में ताकत थी वो सारी कम हो रही थी. व्हाट कुड आई डू, वो पूछ रहे कि मैं क्या करूं. क्लियर यहाँ तक? इट्स जस्ट अ नरेटिंग स्टोरी. डॉक्टर अपनी स्टोरी बता रहे कि कैसे उनका एक्सपीरियंस था स्नेक के साथ. एट माई स्लाइटेस्ट मूवमेंट द स्नेक वुड स्ट्राइक मी, एंड ही सेइंग दैट इफ आई क्रिएट अ मूवमेंट, यार मैं जरा भी हिलाया, मैंने कोई भी थोड़ा सा भी मूवमेंट किया तो वो मुझे दस लेगा. ही वुड स्ट्राइक मी. दैट लर्ड 4 inches अवे, दैट वाज सो क्लोज टू मी, बस 4 इंच दूर. मतलब क्या, उनका जो माउथ था स्नेक का, it was just 4 inches away from him. Suppose it struck, what was the medicine I had to take? There was no medicine in the room. I was but a poor, foolish, and stupid doctor. I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. वहीं पे वो बैठे हैं, thoughts are running in his mind that what if I made a movement and what if the snakes bite me, then what will I do? Do I have any medicines which should I take? I'm just a poor foolish doctor, I don't have any medicine. मैं डॉक्टर तो हूँ बट मेरे रूम में यहाँ पे करंटली अभी कोई मेडिसिन नहीं है. तो ही इज लाइक all of these thoughts are running in his mind, and he's saying that I forgot my danger and smiled feebly at myself. But then he's saying ये सारा जो टेंशन था, ये सारा जो चीज था, ये सारे थॉट्स मैं भूल गया एंड मैं बस खुद को देख के स्माइल कर रहा था. It seemed as if God appreciated that. And then he's saying when I was smiling, मुझे ऐसे लगा कि God ने मेरे स्माइल को अप्रिशिएट किया. क्यों उन्हें ऐसे लगा? Let us see. The snake turned its head. It looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. I do not claim that it was the first snake that had ever looked into a mirror, but it was certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. Was it admiring its own beauty? So since we have seen कि वो मिरर के सामने बैठे थे चेयर पे, हम लोग ने पहले ऊपर डिस्क्रिप्शन में देखा राइट कि चेयर है, टेबल के बाजू में लैंप है एंड एक मिरर है, तो उसी के सामने वो अपना पढ़ाई कर रहे थे. सो देन ही सेइंग दैट व्हेन आई स्माइल इट सीम्ड कि गॉड को भी मेरी स्माइल अच्छी लगी. एंड व्हेन मैंने कोई मूवमेंट नहीं किया बट उस टाइम पे क्या किया, स्नेक ने जो था ना, ही स्टार्टेड लुकिंग हिमसेल्फ, लाइक ही स्टार्टेड लुकिंग इनटू द मिरर एंड सॉ इट्स रिफ्लेक्शन. और उन्होंने खुद का रिफ्लेक्शन वहां पे देखा. किसने? स्नेक ने. And now he's saying that I'm not claiming कि मैं ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ that it was the first snake जो खुद को अपने मिरर में देख रहा है, but it was very certain that the snake was looking into the mirror. But he's saying for me it was very new or something very different कि snake खुद को मिरर में देख रहा है. And then he's asking कि was he admiring its own beauty? वो खुद की ब्यूटी को admire कर रहे थे जैसे मैं अभी कुछ टाइम पहले कर रहा था. Was it trying? See, यहाँ पे the picture is given. Okay, snake is admiring its, like snake is looking into the mirror. So कहाँ पे थे हम लोग? Yeah. Was it trying to make an important decision about growing a mustache or using eyeshadow and mascara or wearing a vermilion spot on its forehead? तो वो अभी ऐसे ही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. वो बोल रहे हैं कि क्या वो भी खुद को एडमायर कर रहा है क्या, कि क्या वो भी डिसीजन ले रहा है क्या कि मुझे भी अभी मुस्टैच मेरी बढ़ानी चाहिए या मुझे भी आईलाइनर काजल वैसे कुछ लगाना चाहिए, या even I should wear a mascara or I should wear a vermilion spot on its forehead. तो ये सारे thoughts उनके मन में चल रहे थे. I did not know anything for certain. What we can do, we will end over here. From 10th point we will continue. अभी ये session 40 minutes का खत्म हो गया ना, तो start joining again in the next meet. जो आप वापस हमेशा की तरह join करते हैं because the session will get over. तो 10th point हम वहीं से continue करेंगे. ठीक है?